From Monday to Tuesday, you don't have any fun. From Wednesday to Thursday, just go out for a run. Friday and Saturday, you're always getting drunk. And Sunday, you stay at home and never thought of church.
right, ladies and gentlemen, this is DJ Psycho Eddie back. Geez, it's been about 2 months
It's been
now.
a long time, man.
Now, before I even go any further, start off, that was Thin Lizzy, Boys Are Back in Town. And I don't know what the fanfare song I don't know who wrote it, who produced it, but the name of that was Fanfare. The dun, 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 dun. Well, aside from that, again, back from 2 months. Now, you guys know that I went on vacation, and I kind of hinted that I was going to have a little bit of a surgery done. And, well, being that I'm back, I made it through the surgery. No, I did not have anything. Well, I did have something removed, but it was in my foot. So it was close to the tip, but no, they didn't scrape it at all.
So you're not a eunuch.
Not yet.
Okay.
I am married, so at any point that could happen. But right now, I'll tell everyone just so that all the questions are gone, because I did get a few emails on this. I had a cyst removed from my foot. The reason why it took so long in healing, because they had to make a very big hole because they thought it was cancer.
Gross.
Okay.
So, long story short, I'm all stitched up. It wasn't cancer, by the way. It's not cancer.
Well, obviously not. You wouldn't be talking about it so calmly.
Yes, I would. I don't hold anything back. And besides, I've had 2 months to get it out of my system, so now it'd just be matter of fact.
All right, maybe coming from you, yes. There are some people that would milk it for all it was worth.
Yeah.
There would be some people that discovered religion because it wasn't cancer. Actually, there are some people that would be ranting and raving on this very show about, hallelujah and all kinds of... Eddie, you're remarkably self-composed.
I try to be. It's a long, drawn-out process, training yourself to do this. It has a lot to do with drinking. If you can maintain your composure with really bad crap going on around you, the bartenders can't tell if you're drunk.
It's good.
And if you don't believe me, I can bring up witnesses that I've seen. Like, I've had friends sitting on either side of me at the bar. The bartender shut both of them off and served me, and I've been drinking for at least 2 hours longer than they were even there.
Okay, but just to reassure you, if that reserved and composed persona should have a crack, my brother knows about 3 bartenders that don't give a damn if you drink the whole supply of Narragansett Brewery.
No, so do I.
So we do. There are. We do
In
have
fact,
several out
if
there.
it's the brother I'm thinking of, we frequent a lot of the same establishments.
Yes, you do.
I had a similar situation, actually, at one of Chuckles' events where me and a guy were drinking all night. He got a little out of hand. They handed me his keys and said, take care of him. Well, now I'm just as drunk as he is in the eyes of the law. Now I got 2 cars to get home. Fantastic. Thank you.
Well, actually, if I'm not mistaken, that was also the person cleaning the floor with his fingers.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, there was no anyone would have been a better person to drive home. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, it's look up, I think it's Cougar Hunter?
Yeah.
Look up the
look
Cougar
it up in
Hunter.
The patch. It was from 4th of July a couple years ago.
Anyways, I am fine. The surgery went well. I'll be getting back to typical abnormal in just another week or so.
There were a lot of hungry souls around here because, for your listeners who aren't aware, DJ Psycho Eddie also runs Craft Services. So if he's not here, Craft Services are one Dunkin' Donuts donut. We take a bite and pass it to the next guy.
And I see George is ready for that.
Yeah. I mean, it was 2 months without you. I mean, I became self-reliant.
Now, actually, I'm going to stir up crap right off the bat.
Okay.
Now, today, Craft Services has come up with a Sunday gravy, which, if you're Italian or you're not Italian, is a hotbed of controversy. Is it sauce?
Right.
Is it red sauce? Is it red gravy? Now,
I think I might have asked you this before in relation to something.
in a lot of cases, if you want to break down to the origins, everything that is liquidized, however you want to put it, it's not quite a gel and it's not quite water. There's stuff in it. It's a sauce.
Yeah.
However, if you add gravy, if you add meat to it, or there's meat in the process of making that sauce, it's a gravy. So whether or not you have meat juices, pieces of meat, as you saw in the gravy today.
That's right. I remember you explaining that to me. So meat equals gravy.
Meat equals gravy.
Gotcha.
So solving world problems here. Meat equals gravy. Speaking of which, I have a very nice sauce in front of me. It's a Wachusett blueberry. Comes in a 12-ounce container. Cracked one of those open so far. We'll be cracking another one in a few minutes. But, yeah, so other than my foot, I went on a cruise, 9-day cruise. We talked about it really quickly because we had someone in studio with us.
Right.
Joe, can't think of his last name. The
Papa Joe.
Papa Joe, that's it. Trying to think of his last name, and it just wasn't coming to me. Papa Joe was here.
Speaking of gravy, it's an Italian last name. That comes to me, but I can't remember.
It begins with a V, if I'm not mistaken. But Joe, we're glad you're here. But
it was
you
only
were
a few months
here.
ago. We don't remember who the hell you are.
No, I see him up on my Facebook all the time. I just don't have
Dude.
Facebook up in front of me.
I mean, a guy after our own hearts. That guy stays busy.
Oh,
That
God,
guy
yeah.
always has a show.
Now, as most of you also know, I like to keep myself busy, as Tony pointed out. In a few upcoming weeks, we'll be talking about something that I'm looking into right now, which is called Patreon. Basically, it's a way for you, the listener, to get more insight as to what's going on here. Maybe in between, when the music is playing, you'll be able to see actually what we look like, number one. Whether or not that's a good or bad, I'm not sure. But you'll also be able to hear the conversations in between.
And that might be a good or a bad thing as well.
We're going to have to train ourselves because some of the content that we come up with off the air is quite horrifying.
And think about that for a moment. Now, a bulk of the people in this room at one point in time worked at a shipyard.
Yep.
On top of that, my father was a Navy veteran, not World War II, Vietnam. I have heard swears that I didn't even know existed from some of those Navy guys. So just imagine the content that happens here between takes.
So it's something to look forward to. I'll be giving out more information as time goes on. I'm going to talk about going up to Sturbridge, Massachusetts again, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. And I have a bone to pick with someone. I guess someone thinks I'm putting on airs, and it's just not the case.
No.
So we'll talk about all that a little bit later. Right now, we're going to go back to the music. We're going to leave here with 10,000 Horses. The name of this band is Candlebox. We'll be back in a minute.
you home. Goodbye, I gotta stay up some other day. Bye bye, gotta go to sleep and let the truth shine. Let the truth shine. Let the truth shine. Let the truth shine. Now I will tell you about that love is just too scary. He's sitting there all alone. I tried to push him out. I tried to hide, but he would not leave my soul. And I tried. Make it feel like the sun is shining outside. Make it feel like the sun is shining outside. Make it feel like the sun is shining outside. Make it feel like the sun is shining outside. Make it feel like the sun is shining outside. I would tell you about home, but that love is just too scary. He's sitting there all alone. And I tried to push him out. I tried to hide, but he would not leave my soul. And I tried. Make it feel like the sun is shining outside. Make it feel like the sun is shining out. Make it feel the sun is shining outside. Make it feel the sun is shining outside. Make it feel the sun is shining outside. Make it feel the sun is shining outside.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Prez USA, or Presidents of the United States of America, Bull Weevil. Before that, 10,000 Horses by Candlebox. Now, I'm going to leave it up to you, George. Should we yell at the person, or should we go about what I did this weekend?
Oh, you mean you want to, like, tear into that person that made that idiotic comment
Yeah.
to your show?
Now, for those of you, which is, well, everyone other than me, George, and Tony, don't know what I'm talking about, I got an email while I was taking my little 2-month sabbatical, and a person basically told me that I go to too many fancy restaurants and to start toning down or start going to places that pretty much that they can afford.
We'll give you dysentery.
Oh, no, not dysentery, because there are a lot of really good cheap restaurants.
That's true.
But, you know, does that person have a leg to stand on?
They wouldn't have a leg to stand on if they were a centipede. Look, the overwhelming purpose of your show, Ed, is what? To
Review what I did over the weekend
Right.
and possible places for other people to go.
Right. So, in other words, review, especially in terms of culinary.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, right. Now, we all know that we can eat at McDonald's, and if we go to McDonald's, we're going to eat a Big Mac or a order of fries, or right? Or if we go to Burger, we know what the menu is at Burger
I
King.
hate to break this to you,
Yeah.
and this is something that I kind of pride myself on.
Yeah.
The only thing I've ever eaten at McDonald's
Yeah.
up to this day is the hash brown and the sausage McMuffin with egg.
Okay, so you ate the two most disgusting, intestine-destroying items on the McDonald's menu. Congratulations. But
you know-
my point is this, and I'm about, in a roundabout way, I'm going to be rapier-like attacking the idiot that texted you.
Well, let's not call him idiot. They're
The
just
the
financially embarrassed, I think, is what I'm looking for.
How about the less imaginatively gifted in a culinary sense?
Sure,
Yeah.
we can go with that.
My point is, before you interrupted me,
sorry.
making me nauseous with that hash brown and that McDonald's breakfast is, unless you're some kind of alien creature with a strong constitution, you do not want to eat McDonald's hash browns first thing in the morning. You really don't. That's even beyond my abilities. Okay? But my point is that the purpose of Ed's show is to inform people about places they might not be familiar with, that they might want to try for an enjoyable dining experience.
Or more importantly, not try. Save
Right.
yourself some money if it sucks.
Right. So the
Well,
point.
that's the hard part with this show because unless I've gotten physically sick
Right.
within an hour of eating that
Unless
food,
it's a matter of public safety.
yeah, I really won't talk about the places I've gone that sucked.
Right, but my point is, if you let me make it,
By
I
all
don't
means.
care if it's your show. You asked me to make you asked me to step in, and I have stepped Bigfoot-like into this situation.
Please do.
We all know, and I say we all. I mean, anybody that goes out for a meal other than in their own kitchen at any point in their lives, we all know what the menu is and what to expect in McDonald's, in Burger King, in 99s, and Denny's, or
Yeah.
That's my point. That was my basic point. We know what to expect there.
Yeah.
So why should Ed, or why should you be wasting your time on your show, talking about these places when we all know what's on the menu?
Well,
When we all know what to expect there, like intestinal cramps.
I'm thinking, or you took the email a little different than what I did.
Okay.
I
How
think
did you
this-
take it?
I think this person wants me to go out of my way
Yeah.
to find places that are good to eat, that
And
are
cheap.
cheap,
All right.
but not going. I mean, I've professed this right along. I don't do franchise restaurants. If there's more than one or two,
Uh-huh.
I won't go.
Okay, well, I'll help this person out briefly, okay?
All right, okay.
If you want to go to a place that's cheap and the food is decent,
Yep.
and you don't want to go to a chain restaurant or a junk food joint, try Laura's Bar and Grill. There's two of them in, I believe it's Smithfield.
Okay.
All right, one is right down the driveway from the Hampton Inn, or is that Douglas Pike?
Yep.
There's
Route
a new,
5.
there's a new Laura's Bar and Grill there. Inexpensive and very good
Yeah.
for the price. And I think there was another one somewhere else in Smithfield, but they closed down. So that's what you want to do. Is Laura's Bar and Grill. There's only two of them in existence.
One in Pleasant Valley Road.
Pleasant Valley Road in Smithfield.
Yeah, I know, but that one's
Would-
closed.
It is closed now?
Yeah.
Yeah, they closed it down.
They-
I don't mean to speak up, but I didn't know that was closed.
Uh, see now you know things are getting out of hand when the guest from our next show is intruding into the
No, but
format
by
here.
all means, he's more than everyone's welcome. By the way, obviously there's no camera, so you don't know this, but Chuckles the Clown and his guest Carl Johnson are in studio right now. They're kind of listening in and jumping in actually, but more than welcome to if you want to pull up a mic.
Right, we're not going to contradict them because one of them looks more evil than Freddy Krueger and Jason put together,
Yeah.
and the other one is a demonologist and exorcist. So we are
who
not
has experience with Sasquatch.
yes, and all other kinds of demented creatures. So we, Eddie
well-
and I, we will be quiet if they want to.
They want to chime in. Go right ahead.
I mean,
Well,
I'm
I learned something about a restaurant I was going to stop in, so I'm glad you mentioned it.
okay. Well, yeah, it is closed. You don't want to make that trip. I was disappointed. There's a sign out front saying, as a matter of fact, I don't know what the problem is, but it says we will open as soon as possible or something like that. So I
So
don't.
it's not a definite,
Yeah, it's not
permanent
like
closure.
done. It seems like they had some kind of trouble.
Oh, well.
I don't know,
Actually,
maybe-
right down the street from the Pleasant View, Pleasant Valley. Pleasant Valley, Pleasant View.
Pleasant View.
Pleasant
Yeah,
View.
yeah.
Pleasant Valley's in Providence. I do a lot of driving.
Yeah.
Right down the street, right on the bend as you get into Stump Pond is
And it's
Tony's.
right near the Stump Pond.
Yep.
It's like a quarter of a mile down from there.
Yeah, right there, right at the bend is Tony's Pizza, where one of the pizza places that I worked at. I have an extensive background in really crappy pizza places, and that spurred my desire for better food, and this lifelong quest of finding restaurants that don't suck.
Okay, so basically, what this person who criticized your choice of restaurants has also done is sparked your post-traumatic stress syndrome from working
does.
on these places as a youth. So thank you very much
That's
for that
it.
too.
You know, I just need to take a break from all this.
I think you should.
It's opened these wounds so far.
You need to
I
compose
have to
yourself.
Compose myself. Get another cocktail. We're going to leave here with a little bit of Pistol Shot Gypsy. The name of this one is Love Junkie. We'll be back in a minute.
what should never be. Now will I see that you're no good? Sometimes it's killing me. But this won't you so addicted.
right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Magunks, One for the Road. Before that, Pistol Shot Gypsy, Love Junkie. Now, I've recovered
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
the emotional scarring an email has left me because I think I'm I will identify as a millennial.
He's been triggered.
Yeah, but
I
thank
am hostile.
Yeah, but
So-
thank goodness you're not a snowflake.
I am not a snowflake. I will not melt anytime soon. Well, depends.
Well, of course, we do consider this our safe space.
I feel very safe here,
Yeah.
except when I look across the table and I have him.
Yes,
That's right.
Staring at you right now.
The table is now full. It's not a round table. It might as well be. We have Chuckles the Clown across the table. To my left, we have Mr. Carl Johnson. To my right, as you've heard right along, Mr. George Garner. And, of course, Tony Jones.
Full house.
Yep, that's it. We are packed to the rafters. Well, we're going to go to do something, talk about something that I've done, which will bring me more into my safe space.
Okay.
I'm going to be talking about beer. Actually, the perfect pairing, pizza and beer.
Oh, yeah.
Well, of course. Yeah.
Now,
These are a few of my favorite things.
first off, I have to start off saying I am drinking a non-beer malt beverage, not your father's root beer, only 5.9% alcohol. You got to try it. It's actually pretty good. I can't complain. It does actually taste like root beer with a little bit of an aftertaste. But I'll digress. We'll go to what I did this past Sunday. As a lot of you know, I like loading up the battle wagon. We'll go to a few breweries. Well, we hit Sturbridge, Massachusetts, actually Charlton, Massachusetts, and into Sturbridge. Hit Treehouse Brewing. Now, if you have not been to Treehouse, if you like IPAs at all, or APAs, American Pale Ales, they are pretty much the mecca for microbrewed IPAs, APAs, and beer in general. They are one of the top names. One of the IPAs I tried just this past Saturday has been ranked number 2 in the world for being one of the best the second best IPA in the world. Name of that is Julius. Very hoppy, but not that really kicky in the tongue, almost tastes like soap hoppy.
Okay.
It's a good balance between hoppy, malty. It does range, the alcohol does get up there. Not going to lie, I had one of those. I had another one, which was called Beer, B-E-A-R. And there was a whole joke that went along with that, which I'll just spare you guys the detail.
You'll save it for your Patreon
We'll save it
customers.
for the Patreon. That's right. It'll be one of the first stories I could talk about on Patreon. But long story short, they only allow you to get 2 beers, 2 full 16-ounce pours for sampling. By the way, it costs you about $34 for 4 beers. 2 for me, 2 for my wife. Fortunately, my wife and I have different tastes, so I tried 4 beers. But I also went with 6 other people. So I got a chance to try, do the math, tried a lot of beer. We also walked out of there with a few cases, and they don't give them away. It's good beer, but you're paying $4 to $5 a can for a 16-ounce beer. Again, I might get another email. I'm talking about the rich, fancy beers.
Yeah, well, I'll comment on that for the people that would otherwise send you an email. It's like
it's not a cheap date type of thing.
no, it's kind of, but it's kind of reminds me like Apple products versus everything else when it comes to smartphones and tablets and everything else.
Yep.
Yes, the Apple is a better product, but it's not the difference in price worth better product. So
Okay, I'll go with that.
yeah, so I mean,
You haven't drank the apple Kool-Aid.
I haven't.
And that's why. They've not to sidetrack, but we'll sidetrack. Not like that hasn't happened before. Apple, within the last 6 months, one of the higher ups at Apple basically said, if you're a true Apple devotee or you're a person who really follows Apple, has all their products, you don't mind spending the extra $300 to $500 to get the Apple iPhone X or whatever the newest Apple iPhone is.
Right. In other words, he's rich person shaming.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's, well, anyways, getting back, Treehouse Brewery, really good, a little bit on the expensive side. So we went to, and I've talked about this place before, Home Fields Kitchen and Brewery. Now, this is the first and probably the best nano brewery that I've ever been to. For those of you who don't know what a nano brewery is, they brew each beer one keg at a time. I'm not saying they keg, one keg, then they keg the next one. They only make enough to fill one keg.
Right.
It's a 40-gallon batch. That's it. So after you drain that keg, you're not going to be able to get that beer until the next time they brew it. However, they do keep a good rotation of the beers going through. I won't even venture a guess. I will tell you that the beers are nowhere near as expensive. And the food here, the food is excellent. They have everything from cheese and, everything's locally sourced. Cheese plates to oysters, seafood. They actually post up a new menu every day. So I can't even tell you what I had, partially because I only had a little bit and I was drinking all day.
Right. And you don't know what'll be there at the
But
next time anyway.
I could recommend that you get the beef pie or the meat pie, which was excellent. I had a piece of that. Someone else ordered it. However, the next time you go, I can't say it's going to be there.
My only little quibble and question though was with the nano, the concept nano brewery. See, when I hear the word nano, it tells me that, or it suggests that this place will have overpriced glasses of beer so small that I can't taste them.
No, I was getting 16-ounce pours for like $4 or $5.
Okay, but you see, but nano,
Yeah. Oh, nano as in how they brew, not
Not the serving.
the size,
serving.
not
The-
microscopic size.
No, well, just microscopic as far as the brewing aspect. They still do the full 16-ounce or 12-ounce pours, depending on what it is. The higher alcohol is a 12-ounce pour. But the food, I forgot even who ordered it. I tried a few of the things on. They had a seafood plate. It's not like a seafood platter. It's just a plate. So you get a little bit of like smoked bluefish, or you get a couple of oysters, and it comes out on a pretty good sized board. The food, like I said, excellent, but you really want to go there for the beer.
Okay.
I tried 4 or 5 different beers there over the course of plenty of time, so I could drive home safely.
The legal department thanks you.
So when we finished with that, of course, after a day of drinking, you have to have your pizza. And on the way home, literally directly across the street from the entrance to Treehouse Brewery is Zorba's Pizza. Zorba's Pizza Tavern, actually. I had fish and chips. I just wanted to keep that seafood thing going. At that point, I had nixed the booze, fortunately, so I could drive home.
Right.
Unfortunately, no one else did, so I had someone walk into the side of my truck. I have handprints and a face print on the back window. They thought the door was open. They missed the door by about a foot.
Wait, someone in your party
Yes.
walked into the truck, not a random
Yes.
person?
Yes, they were walking to the truck. They thought the door was open because they saw the big black opening. Didn't realize all the windows are tinted down in the back of my truck, and walked face first into the side of my truck.
And that was the designated driver.
Well, long story short, Zorba's Pizza was excellent. Nobody got pizza. Some of us got pasta. Like I said, I got fish and chips. Everything that I tried there, because of course we've been sharing beer, sipping out of everyone's glass. If I'm going to catch some type of disease, I would have caught it by now, because it's the same group I always go out with.
Right.
So
all the diseases are mutual.
yeah, everyone has the same funk.
Nothing's mutated.
Yeah, not yet anyways. I'm waiting for that rash to develop. But long story short, the food is excellent. They had a pasta Zorba, go figure, really rich, cheesy sauce, but it had a little bit of spice, had a couple of veggies, not too bad. For those of you who are not the vegetable inclined, they don't overload it, but there is meatball, sausage, and what have you in this pasta, and it was excellent. I can't say enough about it. And again, that's right on Route 20 in Sturbridge, Charlton, Massachusetts. So, and if you're going up there for a while, there's got to be about 20 different breweries you can hit in this one area.
Yeah.
Like you can literally stand at one, throw a rock, you could hit the next brewery you're going to.
Which, by the way, is completely random. I mean, what a weird place for a brewing hotspot to just kind of spring up.
Well, I think it has a lot to do with the a very artsy area.
Yeah.
Plus, being that close to Old Sturbridge Village. For those of you who don't know about it, look it up on the internet. Google's a wonderful thing.
But I think if you're a New Englander, you went there as a school field trip at some point.
You went there about
Required reading.
like 4 or 5 times going through grammar school every other year. Yeah, everyone went to Old Sturbridge Village, and now we know that the teachers went up there for the beer. Where's Miss Catala? Oh, we don't know. Oh, she comes back. She smells like a distillery. Sorry, I just flash back to childhood.
Well, there is a Zorbas on Mineral Spring Avenue. I don't know if they're supplied by a good brewery or the same brewery or the same company.
Well, if you Google it, there's got to be about 70 Zorbas pizzas throughout the country.
They're not the same.
Not the same. Just like Tony's Pizza. There's one in Smithfield. There's one on Bald Hill Road. Not Bald Hill. Broad Street in Providence. Those Tony's Pizza, if you see a Tony's Pizza in the state of Rhode Island, they're all connected. They all have the same supplier. And it's a bunch of cousins that own it. The only reason I know that is because the one I worked at, I found all that out. And I don't know if they're still the same cousins that own it, but I'll digress.
But Zorbas, so no same person owns even 2 or 3 of them.
In the Zorbas?
In the Zorbas.
Zorbas? I don't know. I didn't do that much research. I just went, filled my stomach and said, hey, that's pretty good. I should talk about that.
Yeah, because I could go there tomorrow if you're really recommending it. But,
Yes.
But you don't know yet.
Yeah, but that's a
I
good.
mean, I don't think it could be a bad
Which
experience.
Zorbas? The one on Mineral Spring?
Right along Mineral Spring Avenue. It's about a mile and a half from where I reside. So it's just going up there.
I couldn't tell you. I haven't
it's,
been to that
just
one.
before the Burger King. So
Yeah. Yeah, no,
If
that is a
you-
good disclaimer though, because since the show is nationwide,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want somebody going to Zorbas in Oklahoma, and eating something that tastes like a dead horse, when the
Exactly.
food's great over here.
Tastes like
Yeah.
roadkill.
But that is my disclaimer. If you go to the places that I'm talking about, you have to go to the exact same place. Otherwise, you won't get the same service, the same people, the same food, the same beer.
Yeah.
But we'll cut that right there. If you want to be part of the show, by the way, if you want to get in touch with me, promote something, you have some music you want to get on the air, you might as well hit me up, mynightoutradio@verizon.net. Also, check me out on Facebook /mynightout.
By the way, the band you played before we started talking, they'll be playing a show for George Garner's brother, who is now a rock and roll promoter.
Okay, and that's the
the
Magunks.
Magunks. Yeah, they're playing this Saturday at the Met.
At the Met. Okay. And who is it? Rival Roots is actually playing the night before in Fall River at Boneheads.
Yeah.
I'm actually, I think I'm going to be going to that one. I promised him I was going to go to one of his shows, and unfortunately I just haven't had the free
And
time.
they've been playing at Revival Brewing lately, too, which I haven't been there to see a show yet, but I can only assume a reggae punk rock show at a brewery is a good time.
Oh, yeah. Have you been to Revival at all?
Just to eat, I haven't been when they were
you
kind of like
didn't
in
go to
full
Revi-
swing.
You were upstairs at Brutopia.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, I actually go downstairs to Revival. I have several points for being a frequent flyer, so to speak. Another place, if you want really good beer that you can drink there or take out, I highly recommend doing the sampler. So you get 3 short pours for like $5, $6. And then once you figure out after like 2 or 3 samplers, you figure out what you like, and then you do a few long pours on that. So we're going to take a break here. We're going to leave here with a little bit of Blindside Thunder. The name of this one is Human Race. We'll be back in a bit.
Don't know what the good book said.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Blindside Thunder. Name of that one was Human Race, and we are out of time. I want to thank everyone for coming down. I want to thank everyone for listening. George, Chuckles, Carl, Tony, thanks, guys.
And Ed, I have to give you a shout out for someone that hasn't been here for 2 months. It was like riding a bike. You hopped right back on it. I was expecting a full show of stuttering and stammering.
Well, alcohol had a lot to do with that.
Oh, the great equalizer.
Alrighty, here we're going to be taking off. We're going to leave here with a guy out of New York, actually, band out of New York, Kor Rozik. I played him a few times. This one is called Spellbound. We'll be back next week.
speeding bullet.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
More powerful than a locomotive.
Hulk! Smash!
Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
more to them than meets the eye.
I gotta traveling home. My destiny's on wheels. Yeah, I'm late for the show, and every town reveals. I got a drunken past. I know I'm gonna make it soon. Want to come inside? Want you to feel my grind? Some movements may be rough, just until you've had too much. I got a devil behind, an angel that rides up front. What if I go southbound or north? Which way you redeem? Yeah, I live in a darkened place of internal extreme. Yeah, that's me. I'm the one with the anger machine. Hey! 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 Sometimes I'm alone, just to get me stoned. Yeah, one more drink to sink as I dwell in the spirit smoke. My energy is fire, built from desire. You know I'm gonna make it soon. What if I go southbound or north? Which way you'll redeem? Yeah, I live in a darkened place of eternal extreme. Yeah, that's me. I'm the one with the anger machine. I'm an agent of the sun, and goddamn, I'm afraid of the moon. Yeah, I slept in evil places, and I've walked upon hell's ruins. It made me tough as nails, yeah, and I'm still afraid of the moon. What if I go southbound or north? Which way you will redeem? Yeah, I live in a darkened place of eternal extreme. Yeah, that's me. I'm the one with the anger. That's me. I'm the one with the anger. That's me. I'm the one with the anger machine.
Welcome to Chuckles Crypt here on Rhode Island Free Radio. And we kick things off with a good friend of ours, Sasquatch and the Sickabillies there. Thank you, Dave, very much for your great tunes there that we started the show off with. And, well, we have a packed house today, George Garner.
We do.
We do. We have, of course, Eddie's in the house. Thank you for the vittles. They're very good.
You're welcome.
And legendary Carl Johnson, of course, is in the house. And we have Tony Jones here. And George Garner, you don't need any explanations. You're already here.
Yeah, no, and the best part of it is that there's nobody in this room that I have any urge to throw out.
Yet.
Not even myself.
Absolutely not.
All right.
I mean, you're like my guilty conscience.
Oh, I appreciate that. So today we're going to be talking about all things Bigfoot. But before we get to that, we got to start off with some nerd news.
Okay.
I did watch the movie The Predator. It was very decent indeed.
That's about Catholic priests, right?
Yeah, that's the one about with. No, that's not the one about Catholic priests. We could do a whole show on the Predators. I think it has to be done down the road.
Yeah, starting with the original. And,
Yes,
Yeah.
we have to do that.
You mean
Also,
Father Porter?
no, definitely not.
Oh, wrong Predator. Sorry.
Yeah, and also great news coming up, of course. Confreda Farms, Scary Acres opens up, and yours truly, Chuckles the Clown, will be there pretty much every night because I'm unemployed and need money.
Right. Well,
So-
well, then in that case, I think the patrons of Freda Farm should be warned that you will be there every night because
They're warned. They're just.
I'm not sure if you're going to attract new business or if you're going to drive some customers away.
They're just as sick as us, so I
Okay,
fit right in.
okay,
Yeah, they're not. I
they're
pretty
not
much got.
they're not squeamish at heart.
Oh no, I got free roam of that corn maze. You're in my web when you come inside there. So
Everyone loves a clown.
yeah,
Well, that's what I'm getting at. I mean, there's scary and then there's scary.
Now, our guest was Carl Johnson today. Not only are you knowledgeable about Bigfoot, but you started off your luxurious career with your brother as well with the Conjuring House. I've heard about that.
You know about that.
Yep. If you guys haven't watched the movie The Conjuring, you guys have been sleeping under a rock somewhere. But you also were in Ghost Hunters.
Yes. Yeah. 10-year in Ghost Hunters. Well, my brother Keith and I were members of TAP, the Atlantic Paranormal Society, for 8 years and featured on the show for the first 2 years. Then we left on our own volition.
The best 2 years, anyways.
Thank you.
In my mind.
Some people have said that.
Yeah.
It's a different format.
Well, besides the fact that you guys, were doing this before it became every soccer mom's favorite thing to watch, right? I mean, it wasn't on the tip of everybody's tongue when you guys first got started.
Ghost hunting and demonology in particular were not popular. back
Right,
when we
exactly.
started.
You guys were pioneers, basically.
Yes, and a rough pioneering at first, yes. Growing up in a conservative town in central Rhode Island. You get a reputation if you say you've got ghosts in your house and you look for ghosts. The ghosts talk to you, so it wasn't always widely accepted. Then it came into vogue with the television series proliferate now.
Yeah, I definitely I would agree with that. You start saying you see ghosts and stuff back then. You were put into a room, Butler Hospital there, and
You ended up at the lad school where you then saw more ghosts.
yeah.
Well, plus it might have been an issue of, how many of those conservative Christians were actually possessed and didn't want you to know it. I mean, you can't trust those people.
That's a possibility of it. But we're here to talk about Bigfoot, and of course, Carl Johnson here. You were in a team.
Yes, Bigfoot seekers, as a matter of fact. One enigma we explored became known as Big Rhodey. You've heard of the nickname for Rhode Island. Rhode Island is the ocean state, also Little Rhodey, because of tiny size. Well, I dubbed our native Bigfoot Big Rhodey because he's big, in contrast with Little Rhodey. And he's probably not limited just to Rhode Island. I think he migrates down from the northern states like Maine and New Hampshire. Probably comes from someplace in New York State. And as soon as he crosses over the line into Rhode Island, he's Big Rhodey for however long he's here.
Now, this Big Rhodey it's also a different color from it, right? It was said to be like a whitish color to it.
Well, actually, this one is more black and blends
All
with
right.
shadows. I mean, a white ape has been seen in Rhode Island, or a white ape-like creature, but this specifically always seems to be male, and there aren't too many of them. They migrate down here. That's why I keep referring to he. I assume he has a family someplace, but it seems to be the rogue male who comes down here. There are probably only several in our state at any given time, and they go back for the winter. They're here during the summer and autumn. Come down late spring, from what we've observed.
That's the best time to hide, especially in the Exeter East Greenwich woods there.
Something brings them here.
Yeah. It's maybe this fact that it's a small state and there's a lot of game in here.
That could be, yeah. I mean, this is a creature that could subsist on frogs, little amphibians, and perhaps small deer. You know, it ekes out a living here. I don't know what really brings them down. There are magnetic properties to southern New England that maybe bring it in, and it's probably aware that it's approaching the ocean, shoreline. And some people have asked me, how can something the size of Bigfoot hide out in Rhode Island? He doesn't know he's in Rhode Island. He just knows he's getting closer to the shore. And I don't know what brings him down here, or why they go back. Why aren't they here?
Well, maybe they're migratory, right? I mean, a lot of animals just have migratory paths.
Which, to me, lends more veracity to these reports, these sightings, because he's here only for a limited time. Then goes back. People aren't seeing him in the winter. They don't find these huge human-like misshapen footprints in the snow. He's gone. They find him in the mud.
Right. But he's retreating back to New York or something where it's actually colder.
Right,
So-
which is not surprising because it's like I say, that is an explanation that I'll buy, is that they have a migratory pattern that they repeat every season.
Based on sightings, my theory is that he migrates down from the Whitehall area in New York State, is here for a while, then goes back there to winter. I can't see any practical purpose for that, but like as you were suggesting, the game down here maybe it's
Right.
the summer food source.
Right, and if you look at a lot of animals' migratory patterns, I'm saying to a human, there's no practical purpose. I mean, they'll leave, just like you said, they'll leave more hospitable climates to go back, like say, to the Arctic. I mean, to them it's comfortable.
Yes.
To them it makes perfect sense.
They're
to them
shaggy
it's
critters.
Right. I mean,
Maybe it's some sort of ancient path put into their head that goes from generation to generation.
It's instinctive. Yeah.
Right, just like elephants or other wild
Birds.
animals.
Yeah, anything. Yeah.
That somehow know the paths of their ancestors that they have taken. Maybe it's something to do with that. Well, we're going to get back to some music here, and when we come back, we'll talk about some of the first sightings of Bigfoot ever recorded. We got a great list of music to listen to, and if you haven't heard these guys, I recommend their album, Legendary Shack Shakers, and the song is Blood on Bluegrass here in Chuckles Crypt, Rhode
Alright.
That was legendary Shack Shakers here on Chuckles Crypt, Rhode-IslandFreeRadio.org. I guarantee you will not hear them played on the radio anywhere else but
Chuckles,
here.
I had a chance to check those guys out years ago at a place that you shut down called the Living Room. They absolutely tore the roof off the joint. I mean, it was insane. People were literally, you know how they had those columns in the ceiling?
Yeah.
People were literally hanging from the ceiling during their set.
Yeah, they're definitely a rootin' tootin' rowdy bluegrass band, that's for sure. They know how to get things done. So if you guys are just tuning in right now, we are talking all things Bigfoot, and we are here with the legendary Carl Johnson, and I'm sure we're going to get to more other cryptozoology creatures. But before we do that, I said I was going to talk a little bit about one of the very first recorded Bigfoot sightings was done here, and it was first sighted in 986 A.D. by Lucky Leif Erikson. He was one of the first to record a site and said he found something ape-like or man/ape-like wandering the woods of America. So there's your first actual recorded site. I mean, I tried looking for facts and fictions on this, and this can go forever with sightings of Bigfoot. Carl and I were talking in the car there, especially in America there. It used to be, it was only on the West Coast at one point in time because of the ever so popular footage that famous from Roger Patterson out there. But now there's actually sightings of them from everywhere from Washington to Florida to, Rhode Island and Maine. So a lot of them out there. Now, my question to you, Carl, is this. How come no one's actually shot this thing? I mean, with all these crazy yahoos out there that have come across this, no one has had the ambition to shoot this creature. I mean, isn't there a bounty on his head right now?
Well, it's actually illegal to shoot at or kill a Bigfoot. Nobody's been prosecuted for it, though. Because Bigfoot has been shot, Bigfoot has been killed. It's just that these reports, they're hard to support. There's a paucity of evidence, and then the stories get buried after a while, and they just show up on television specials from time to time. But there have been several times where Bigfoot has been shot and killed in the 19th and 20th centuries, even the 21st century. An infant Bigfoot was killed. But it's hard to really research them and find out.
All right, and where are the remains, though?
The remains get one man who shot the Bigfoot. I think that was in Missouri, and he buried the Bigfoot, the juvenile Bigfoot, and went back and tried to dig it up to support his case, and could not find the remains. So that's kind of spurious in itself.
Yeah.
But there are reports of Bigfoot and blood samples taken from sites where Bigfoot has been shot and killed. You're talking about historically, like Leif Erikson. He was an explorer. He didn't write about the trolls he saw, or the mountain trolls and these fantastic creatures. He was a realist. He documented. He was an explorer, and yet he talks about these giants that he and his crew saw, and he gives height comparison. And these Viking explorers were tall people, averaging about 5'10" to 6 feet in height, and they came up to the Bigfoot's chest. They didn't call it Bigfoot; they called them giants. But no other mythical creatures show up in these logs. And Daniel Boone, the pioneer, he fought with the Bigfoot and killed it.
Really?
Yeah. He called it a Yahoo, and he got that from Gulliver's Travels. And another careful explorer who documented his traveling and his explorations and his settlements. Daniel Boone did not, make up yarns. He wasn't like Davy Crockett style. And yet he talks about fighting with a hairy giant man, and killed it by killing the Bigfoot. And he claimed it was 10 feet tall. I don't think he took a careful measurement. But in our own time, these things are still being seen. They're being more widely reported because there are more people around to see them and report them.
There's more people actually going into the woods to look for this creature, too, where beforehand you were heckled. Just like being a ghost hunter or whatnot, you were laughed out of the out of the church or town hall meeting, so to speak.
Well, pretty much. There was a time where I would walk through my hometown, and I was walking with a friend, and his family moved in next door to me, and I was telling him some of the stories about my gaining a not too commendable reputation in my hometown because of the ghost hunting. And as we were walking by a couple of houses, the shades pulled down. I said, well, it's nice to be remembered. And this was only about 12 years after I got out of high school.
Yeah, speaking of ghost hunting now, right? I have a thought on the subject, which I don't know how popular it would be with people,
Well, it's
but
all under the umbrella of paranormal.
well, that's the thing. In other words, because everybody keeps talking about Bigfoot and like related creatures as animals or some kind of humanoids. Hasn't anybody? And this brings in your other, your previous research and your brother's field. Is that has anybody thought that these creatures are supernatural in origin?
Yeah, that's the
I mean,
popular
because
explanation now, as a matter of fact, because it solves some
It
problems.
answers some big problems. I mean, nobody's ever, again, like other than that little story about burying a baby Bigfoot, I mean, nobody's ever produced a body. Nobody's ever found, no hunters have ever found traces of spoor or other obvious signs of that an animal's been there. There's just nothing, there's
Right. I shouldn't
nothing.
say that solves the problems. It addresses the problems. It gives one more.
Right, because there's a lot of
Variable.
problems to address.
Right.
Yeah.
You just think, why don't we find a full carcass? Why don't
Right.
we find fossilized remains?
Right, and
Something somebody hasn't
it comes and goes.
been able to scrutinize these remains.
Yeah, and it comes and goes. It goes near populated centers. Nobody can produce a dead one. Nobody can produce physical evidence that's convincing. Nobody's got any blood that stands up to DNA testing. Like I say, I mean, to me, and it sounds funny to say rationally, rationally, the only explanation is a non-rational one. I mean, in
Right.
terms of,
When these blood samples have been analyzed, usually the best results will come up as primate unidentified, and then it's like, yay! Oh, wait, really don't know anything about it.
Right.
It's, not human, but what is it? And yeah, it does. That's why Bigfoot is so spooky. It does have something of an eerie supernatural aspect to this phenomenon.
yeah, and it does bear resemblance. I mean, even the traditional one bears some resemblance to mythological or legendary
Yes.
creatures.
They've been seen for a while.
Right.
A long time now. If you spoke to my colleague Dina Palazzini, who's authored 2 books on the subject, and she's an eyewitness. She's seen a Bigfoot 3 times, and I do believe her. She says it's a physical creature, that it's not paranormal, it's not supernatural.
All that means, though, is that it has physical substance.
Right.
That-
At least for the
which-
time we see it. Or
Right,
we
which
experience
doesn't
it.
which doesn't mean anything because, a demon, all kinds of non-material creatures can take physical substance temporarily.
If we can believe in the reality of a demon,
Then
that can do
right.
inflict physical harm or make its presence known by physical manifestation, and then it disappears. It's not too much of a stretch to believe that a Bigfoot could somehow manifest and then either dematerialize or
Right.
Relocate,
Exactly.
bilocate. We don't know what the propensities are, but there's something not quite normal about these abnormal creatures.
Right, and then when you figure in the Native American accounts of spirits, creatures that are
Right.
not.
They have their own lore about it. Many Native American
Yeah.
cultures about it, that they can disappear and they can hypnotize people, or they can make them render themselves invisible, so that they're still there, but people don't see them. Also, other animals shy away from the Bigfoot. Actually, they flee from the Bigfoot. Even birds and insects stop chirping. They'll cease making noise if a Bigfoot is around. Now it's it's a pretty rugged creature, but why would even insects?
Yeah, and again
birds,
now, and again,
squirrels
not
stop?
to take away too much time from Chuckles, but again, what does that resemble as far as phenomenon? You know what I'm saying? That what other beings cause that?
Right. Nothing else does. I mean, lions in the jungle, tigers, they don't stop birds from singing and other animals from
Nope, it's
entering
all.
that proximity.
Nope, it's only when other worldly entities make themselves known that those
So
phenomenon
it's projecting
happen.
something. It has a certain level of intelligence and ability to do that, to generate a psychic mask and scare away other critters.
Right.
And of course, everything we say about it is conjecture. I do believe in its existence. I don't know what it is.
Right, but once you accept its existence, then how many explanations are
And
there?
that invites theories. You have to have suppositions once you accept that something's real. You have to try and explain it.
Right.
It's a tough thing to say, I just don't know, especially when you're interested in the topic. And I've been out at night searching for Bigfoot. There's not a heck of a lot that scares me, honestly, and there's virtually nothing I'll back down from in the paranormal realm. But there is one place that I cannot bring myself to go to. I couldn't do it because I had a close encounter with what I think was Bigfoot there, Sasquatch, whatever we call it. And it's just something so scary about the possibility of the premise of this thing emerging from the darkness of the woods and me seeing it and it seeing me. I just can't. There's a rock there or a rock ledge. I could wait for it. I could not bring myself to do it because I did have a close experience there.
Right, and obviously we're not going to. It's probably a better idea not to go on the air and or online and tell everyone where this was.
Well, it's
because,
private property. That's
well, who cares
an
about?
element too,
well,
but
who
I mean-
cares about that? I mean, really. I mean, I think that like what I was getting at was, I mean, you don't want to invite the curious to go to this place
No,
if there's genuine
because if
danger.
there is a Bigfoot there, we don't want them to be in danger, and we don't want to scare away the populace of the Bigfoot.
Right, or if a Bigfoot is what I suggest it is, then that means that the place isn't just a place where you'll find a Bigfoot, but it's a place that's conducive, I guess the word is, to a phenomenon that, every, curiosity seeker probably shouldn't go wandering around looking for.
Yeah, well, I won't, provide its precise location.
Right.
Like Dina Palazzini was always at. I can't tell you where this is because you'll tell people. Oh, I will. Not intentionally. I might let it slip.
Oh, you mean you don't know in the first place? She told you about it.
No, she told me where she had a sighting, and that's why we went there.
Oh, okay. You have. Oh, sorry. You did. This is when you did go to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And 9 years ago, and we found imprints, like in the dried mud, footprints, oversized human-like footprints, and followed them for a while, and found other evidence of this creature's presence. But I went there at night, and that's where I think I was close to a living specimen. And it's a watershed, so it would have food source there.
Right.
Small amphibians, squirrels, whatever it could get. Not
Oh.
big game necessarily.
Right, well, a logical person. Okay, you followed the footprints, and at the end of that trail of footprints, there was
They went into a swamp, and
Okay.
then they stopped. But they were dried,
Now-
on land, obviously.
Yes.
Yes.
I have a little conjecture for that. A logical person seeing a set of Bigfoot footprints going off into the woods, some of the logical people are saying, well, if his feet are going that way, my butt's going the other direction.
Well, this was in mid-afternoon in bright sunlight, so they followed. Whole different experience when it's dark out.
Yeah, honestly, as I've gotten older, I've realized daytime or night, getting your butt whooped by a person or by a Sasquatch still hurts.
Yeah, definitely would. I don't think any of us inside this building right now would survive a butt whooping from a Sasquatch. So, yeah, I concur with you about going the other direction. If it's all the
And I'm a
footprints.
guy that loves to fight, and I would still go in the other direction. So what's that tell you?
And you're also a guy that's mistaken for a Sasquatch every now and
I'm
then.
like Fit Finley. I like to fight.
Yeah. We'll go down to let's go down to some music here, and then we'll come back. We'll talk some more about some of the sightings of Bigfoot there, and later on we're going to talk about some Bigfoot movies. I mean, this is Chuckles Crypt and everything pop culture. So let's go down to some Glory Hammer here on Chuckles Crypt, Rise of Chaos Wizard.
Rise
Welcome back to Chuckles Crypt, and that was Glory Hammer, Rise of the Chaos Wizard. They will be playing with legendary Ailstorm coming up very soon, September 24th at the Met. Chuckles will be there along with Deadly Dan. We will be partying with Ailstorm. Hopefully, they'll let us party with them as well. We are talking all things Bigfoot, and we got the legendary Carl Johnson in studio with us. And we have a full house, we really do. George Garner, Ed Psycho Eddie's here, and of course Tony Jones.
All our main eventers are here tonight.
Yeah, and we were talking about the sightings. Now, you said that before the break that you have come close to a sighting, but you've actually documented a sighting for a friend.
Yes, here we go with Dina Palazzini. Dina Marie Palazzini is a well-established Bigfoot researcher. She's re-entering the field, actually. And she has seen this critter 3 times, and you could say 4 if you count the time she filmed it. But she wasn't trying to capture a Bigfoot on film. She was driving along in Exeter, Rhode Island. Teammate Chris was driving, and Dina had her camera aimed out the window, just getting some B-rolls, scenery. And there, when she looked back at what she had filmed, she a rather tall, strangely formed creature walking out from behind a tree, as if it had been seen and not revealed, intending to reveal itself. And it's blurry because she had her camera set for night scope, and so it's not as resolute. But Chris and Dina did go back the same route and tried to replicate their results, and there's no creature walking out from that tree when they refilm it. I remember a comedian on television saying, "Bigfoot, he's blurry. Why is he always blurry in pictures?" I think Bigfoot is blurry. It's just the way he looks.
Or it's the way he records on camera.
Maybe he can that shielding, that cloaking device, he seems to have innate.
Well, we brought up off air. We brought up a Steve Austin, a $6 million man, $6 million woman tie-in where the Bigfoot was used and was actually using alien technology to speed up his the way he would run. It would speed him up. As I'm talking, I'm remembering more.
Wasn't it on the
But
Bionic Woman who's revealed as, did Steve Austin?
One of them.
Yeah, Steve Austin. He was revealed as an mechanical on the Steve Austin show because he ripped his arm off in the battle.
But he was the Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call him, was actually given access to alien technology, so you couldn't film him because of either bending light around him or because he was allowed to travel at a faster speed than what we can comprehend. It was weird.
As part of alien research, was that the whole point?
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
One of the most credible shots that we have, of course, of Bigfoot, the famous Bigfoot filming of 1967 of Roger Patterson and Bob.
1967 in Bluff Creek.
Yep.
Patterson's.
And what do you guys think of that? First of all, we'll go Carl. Do you think that was
I've gone
staged?
back and forth on it. I think it's genuine at this point. I can't. I wasn't there. I can't.
That's the one where he was lumbering through, correct?
It was on the side of a creek, and you can see him.
And he turns and looks toward the camera.
Right.
Yeah.
It's remarkable about his film is in broad daylight, sharp contrasts, and it's clear.
Right.
Clear thing. The question is this someone in a costume? Is
Right.
Perpetration. I just think it's genuine because I've viewed it enough times. It's a female Sasquatch. They dubbed it Patty after Patterson, and I've got about 8 seconds of this creature altogether, and it does look real. I mean, you can say, "Oh, that's somebody in a costume," but the more I look at it, the more I see the movement of the musculature underneath the fur. It just seems. I didn't find any zipper when I looked.
Well, nowadays though they do have the technology. I mean, if they can simulate the
when they do recreations like for a documentary.
Right. What I'm saying is, even if they take that footage, I mean, right now they have technology that can simulate the movements of dinosaurs based on their skeletons. I mean, I think it would be. I don't know if I'm just curious if anybody's turned this technology on that footage. I mean, because they really should be able to map the movements of the creature in the video, and
been subjected to stringent analysis.
right, but photographic analysis.
I'm thinking, photography-wise, your limitation is by the media that it's picked up on. Back in the 1960s, they didn't have the technology like they do today, even in film. You know, your ISO resolution was so low, you're only dealing with a 200 to 400 resolution on the film. It's not going to pick up the very minute details that even a 1200 speed film versus digital. Digital, I mean, if you have capture it in digital, you have unlimited formats. You could break that down into, you can bring it down to where you can count the hairs on its back.
Right. But I'm more, but from what like Carl said, I'm more concerned. I'm talking more about the movement. In other words, if you know what I'm saying, if we computer simulation will tell us once and for all if the movements of the creature overall could be accomplished by a human being or not. Saying that
Has made up their mind that Bigfoot is just implausible as a species, as a creature, then of course it's a hoax.
well, sure. Well, but like if you're willing to keep an open mind, I mean, I just wonder out loud if they have applied this new technology.
I want to believe
You know,
it, therefore I'm cautious about it.
Right.
My ultimate opinion is, could it be a hoax? Yes, it could be.
Yes, but
Probably not. Unlikely.
right, except and like I say, evidence on both sides. I mean, the way it's right, the way that it's very convenient. Like you said, it's in broad daylight. It's clear. It looks back toward the camera, goes back. In other words, it's if you were trying to pull out a hoax, that's how you would do it.
Yes, I've taken that approach too.
Yeah.
It's strangely convincing. What's your opinion on that, Chuckles, if you have one?
You know, I'm one for hoaxes and everything. I know how to play a hoax and whatnot. I'm saying if this was a hoax, would be a very expensive hoax because if that is a costume, is a well done costume, and something like that now would cost you anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000. Never mind back then. I mean, did they have the technology to make a costume this outlandish and the budget to do that in the first place?
They did go through that effort of constructing a costume, paying for it. They only used it once.
Right, and they'll use it once and get rid of it, and it hasn't popped up anywhere in someone's collection, or someone on their dying bed hasn't come out and said, "Hey, I have this suit." I mean, for me, I'm going to go by as it's definitely credible footage. I mean, we all here watch Godzilla movies, and we can tell when something has a zipper on it or not.
Right. That's also cheap budget.
Right.
That's also cheap special effects.
And that's what I'm saying. If this was special effects, these guys had money. And on Carl's point, why just do it once? Why not do it a couple more times?
Well, for the exact reason to make it questionable. I mean, you can't. That's why they only show the monster once in a really good monster movie. The less you see of it, the more convincing it is. And it's not so much. And if you look at that footage, which I've obviously I've looked at it many times too.
Right.
But it's not a question of the expensiveness of the costume, because let's say it's a costume for the sake of argument, that what's it made out of? We don't know. You know what I'm saying? It could be just ladies' cheap fur that they took off fur coats. It's the important thing, like Carl touched on, is the movement of the musculature. You know what I'm saying? And that's what needs to be looked at.
Especially as is viewed in its back.
Exactly.
Its buttocks, its haunches.
Exactly.
Very convincing. And then they must have, if it was a costume, they destroyed it right afterwards because nobody's ever produced a costume.
Right.
One person did surface and say, yes, I made the costume, and then he recanted that some time later, but nobody ever showed the costume.
Right. Right, so the costume was destroyed. Right, so it could have been a cheap costume, but a very elaborate musculature, animatronic musculature, which actually was known back then by, people in the know for special effects. If you look at a movie like 2001 Space Odyssey, remember the subhuman apes at the beginning of that movie? Those were realistic. I mean, if it would take somebody, and again, I'm not saying yes or no. I'm just saying this is what fascinates me about that footage. It would take somebody with a medical person, right, with extensive knowledge of musculature, bone structure,
Yes.
to pull it off. So again,
You need
that's
a team.
Yeah.
Really, not just two individuals.
right.
You need one person for whatever animatronics. You need a definite costume maker.
Right.
I mean, the amount of people that we brought in, each step down that road, you're introducing another person that will throw the monkey wrench
And
into it later and say,
Right.
"Oh, I was there and I did I did audio, or I did, special effects makeup. I was the guy in the suit."
Right.
right, definitely, it's like the old saying, the faking of the moon landing. 40,000 people put that together, and no one's come out to say that it was fake. I don't know. I personally think it's real footage. You the listeners out there, let us know what you think. Post stuff up. What do you think? If you haven't seen it before, it's not hard to find. Just go up on YouTube and it's up there. But let's go down to some more music here. And this is one of my favorite newer bands out there. We're going to listen to some Ghost. The song is Rats here on Chuckles Crypt, Rhode Island Free Radio.org.
I saw that footage.
In times of turmoil, in times like these, beliefs contagious, spreading disease.
famous ghost here on Chuckles Crypt Rhode Island Free Radio, rats. If you're not a fan of ghosts, hopefully you are now. They're really cool. They're coming around in December. They're going to be in Boston. I know, George, you said before that you never heard of them. Well, I can't say that.
Yes, I can, because we were so busy arguing about Bigfoot here at the table, I didn't hear a note.
Well, you'll have to go back.
I'm going to have to listen to the show again.
You have to go back and listen to it again.
Yep.
So before we wrap things up, because we're getting close to that time, we're going to go down a short set list of Bigfoot movies that you can watch. Some of these are documentaries. Some of these are actual Bigfoot movies. Bigfoot 2012, which was the infamous Alice Cooper in that one. Night of the Demon, 1980. Willow Creek, 2013. Bigfoot, The Lost Coast Tapes. It has no date on the side of that. The Legend of Bigfoot, 1975. Abominable, 2006. Exists, 2014. Harry and the Hendersons, 1987. Patterson and the Gimli film, 1967. And the first one that I put up there was Boggy Creek, 1972. So there's a small list of Bigfoot movies for you to check out.
Let me add one, though, too. One of the fiction.
Okay.
But it's from the mid to late 70s, called The Creature from Black Lake. And it's about a Bigfoot wandering around in the Louisiana swamplands. Really good stuff.
Man,
Scary.
talk about a lot of fleas and ticks and mosquito bites.
I don't know why a Bigfoot would want to be there, but that's where it was in the movie.
Yeah, if I was a Bigfoot, I would not want to be down in Louisiana or Florida. So those must be the sick Bigfoots that are tired of cold weather.
Unless you're an elderly Bigfoot, then you retire there.
Yeah, maybe
you
that's
get
what
a condo.
it is. Yeah,
Or a
maybe
Confederate Bigfoot.
that's a possibility. So, well, we'd like to say thank you once again to our special guest, Carl Johnson, for coming down.
Pleasure.
We will do a part 2 because there's just too much to touch on this for a 1 hour time slot. So next time we come back to the cryptozoology, I'm not going to wait a couple months. It'll be the next quarter that we do this. We will have the part 2, and hopefully we can have you down. And we can talk all things Bigfoot again.
And all things, some other stuff, too.
Yeah.
Perhaps I can bring a colleague with me.
Hopefully. We'd love to have Dina down here if you're listening. We'd love to have you down and pick your brain as well. And I know that sounds weird coming from an evil clown. Yeah.
Yeah, not literally, honey. Don't be afraid to come.
No, she's actually been on my television show before. And
So she's not intimidated by you.
Oh, not at all. I tortured the living crap out of one of her friends.
If I'm not mistaken, you had a Bigfoot cutting the lawn.
I did have a Bigfoot cut in the lawn, yes, and I stuck one of her friends inside of a mummy sleeping bag, and I put stuff inside of it like rats and spiders and everything.
Oh,
so,
Aries, yeah.
yes.
Kennedy, you gave her quite an experience.
So, yeah, they're definitely not afraid of me, that's for sure. So we're going to go out of here with I had a big list here, but I figured this one would be perfect to rescue things out. We're going to leave with the Dead South here on Chuckles Crypt Rhode Island Free Radio. In Hell, I'll Be Good.
The stage smells, tells, hells, bells, misspells, knocks me on my knees. It didn't hurt, flirt, blood, squirt, stuff, shirt like me on a tree. After I count down 3 rounds, in hell I'll be in good company. Tear shed, cream beam a squeeze.